everyone, this is Melville. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to take a look at Lost Eons, a solo role-playing game. So Lost Eon is a sci-fi solarpunk themed solo RPG written by David Blandy and the art by Daniel Locke, and you can see some credits and influences of this game over here. And if we take a quick look at what this game is about. So the game. Your people have lived in your haven for 1,000 years. It protected you. The experience changed you. Now the haven's door must open. What will you find there up on the surface? How has the damaged world healed? Do you have what it takes to survive? So Lost Eons is a solo kind of variant of the RPG, another RPG by David Blandy called Lost Eons. And this game takes place 8,000 years after the world has been destroyed by climate catastrophes. And during that process, some people decided to enter these havens, these fort-like places underground, and form their own societies. And obviously, during that 8,000 years, things would have changed. The society structures would have changed, and even the people in there have experienced some kind of mutations. And there are also kind of people on the overworld that never entered these havens, and obviously, they will have to adopt to the new environment. And it's a very interesting game. I have to say, I really enjoyed this game for two main reasons. The first one is, first of all, even though David Blandy called this game a journaling role-playing games, I think there's quite a lot of gameplay mechanisms and structure in place that makes it, first and foremost, a game that you can just play following the structures without being a kind of a story making or novel writing exercise. And the second thing that I really enjoyed about this game is the theme, which I will talk about at the end of the video, because I want to quickly show you how this game works. So, in this game, you are going to need some dice. Ideally, I would say have at least 4 sets of dice with your typical D6, D8, D4, D12, and D10s. Because this game does use quite a few of dice for different tests. The test systems is very similar to the likes of Iron Sworn, where you are basically not necessarily rolling against a test, but against yourself in that sense. So in this case, the checks are done by rolling 2 dice from your side. One is a soul die, so normally it would be a d6. This represents your inner resolve, basically not necessarily related to a specific skills, but basically your personal resolve and determinations. And also, you will also nominate a specific skill for the task. So in this game, there are quite a lot of different skills. So there are 6 of them in total. They are divided into physical skills, technical skills, and mental skills. And each of them are subdivided into 3 categories. And all of these skills are represented by a dice values. So, for example, if I'm playing this kind of archetype, a psych character, then I would have only a D4 for my muscle skills at the start, and but I would have a D8 for the analysis skills, for example. So in this case, if we are doing some kind of analysis analysis task, maybe trying to analyze a new form of fauna species, then we will basically roll a d6 for our souls and d8 for our analysis skills. And then we will also roll 2d8 for this world. This is represent basically how this world is reacting to your actions. So you will roll them together, and in this case, you can see we have a 6 and a 7, and the world has 8 and a 2. So if we beat our highest values beats the lowest value of the 2d8s from the world dice, then we succeed in our actions, but there will be complications. If we do beat both of the dice, then we will basically get a complete success. And obviously, if our total highest value is lower than either of these, then then we have a failure. So in a way, it is very similar to Ions 1, but there's enough tweaks to make it better, because I think having 2 dice against the world will basically create better stories in most cases, and we'll see how that works later on. Apart from that, you will also need a deck of cards in order to play this. They will be divided by suits, so all of them are grouped together. And this will form your main oracles, and also it will represent how your journey works out. So during your journey, we will basically pull some dice and find out if it's a location, if it's a being, if it's an event, or is it a specific thing. And then you can do your normal oracles, combining them together and create a little bit of scenarios that you can play with. So, without explaining further ado, I'm going to go straight into the gameplay. So, to start with the character creation. So, in this game, there is quite a robust character creation system, and one of the things I really liked is that you have some archetypes that you can pick from. So, archetypes are these kind of class, if you like, and you can see there's, I think, 6 of them. They include the Psych, the Shifter, the Salvager, the Seer, and Scrapper, and also the Outcast. And the interesting thing is, because all of them will have their own sets of talents, so each of them will basically be able to do different things. For example, the Salvagers will be able to do repairs related kind of work. The Seer will be able to do some kind of magic related actions. And the way it works is, when you gain experience, you will start gaining more higher tiered skills or talents, and then you can get 2 per each tier, and then by the end you will basically be able to connect all of them to get to the highest tier ones, which is tier 4. Apart from that, you also start with a kind of some personal experience, kind of skill bonus to determine how you grow up under the in the havens. So in our case, I think we are going to play specifically one type. I'm going to decide to play as the Psych, which is an insightful investigator and empathy. And begin with search of D8, research of D8, analysis of D8, and persuade of D6. And I also have a specific talent called Insight, which means that I always know when somebody is lying to me. So after that, you are going to get some kind of personal bonus. In this case, I'm going to roll 2 d10s to see what kind of bonus we're going to get. So the first one will be our personality. So I've got a 3. So, endure. So, growing up, you were the one who didn't mind the weather. So, in this case, we get a bonus to our endure. So, we start with D4, if I'm correct, and it will basically turn into D6. And let's look at the experience. So, as we matured, what happened? 3. Another endure. So you have been your own keeper. Okay, so that's really nice, which means that our endure is, instead of D6, is actually starting with D8. So it's quite an interesting background. So we are Psych, but we have great endure skills. And after that, you are going to create a society. So this is basically the havens that you grow up with. So the nice thing about this is, like a lot of solo role-playing games, one of the best thing to do is to start with your society, the world that you growed on, instead of starting with your character, because it is easier to fit your character into the world rather than creating a world and then creating a character and fit the world to that character. So this game provided two kinds of ways to create your havens. There's the normal haven, and there's a specific utopian havens that everything is bright and hopeful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the normal ones as an example, and we'll see how it goes. So there are 5 kinds of questions that you're going to ask. So let's take a read of the background first. So 8,000 years ago, during the course of climate catalysms, hundreds and thousands of vast havens were built deep underground to save a fraction of humanity. all have been affected by the arcane essence bubbling up from the Earth's mantle, mutating the people in unique and various ways. So, as I mentioned, even though these people entered the havens underground, they still get mutated some way to probably help them live underground, actually, in the first place. So, to generate the Haven Society, your character comes from roll on these tables and choices, and we will see how it goes. So let's start with the structure. So it's a D6. So 6. This community was once nomadic, rotating through several havens connected by underground tunnels. All but one of the havens have now been taken over by outsiders. Okay, that's interesting. So we are no nomadic tribe, but not by choice in this case. It seems probably by force. So for whatever reasons, we have to keep on finding new places to live in. What about the details? This is another D6. So 1. A massive communal grain silo stands in the center of this haven. Everyone shares it. But after the pool harvest, stocks are running low. Who takes priority? So this is a question for us. What I'm going to say is the weak and the poor and the minority will take priority in this case. And the reason behind that is because I imagine us living as the nomadic people. And one of the most important things for nomadic people is that you will have to, in reality, you have to survive by sacrificing the weak in a lot of cases. But I don't think this is definitely the case, the only way out. So I'm going to go to the opposite, and I'm going to try to explain them later on through the gameplay. Leader 6. A charismatic revolutionary who has just overturned a hereditary system, and probably that's why the weak and the poor will take priority over the strong and the fit, because this is the reason for the revolutions to make it a fairer society. In this case, I'm just going to say that. Tech level 4. Incredibly meticulous record keeping have preserved technological know-how in this community. The library is kept secret from outsiders. It is of incalculable worth. And I'm going to say this is a history recording device, basically recording all the history before mankind's fall 8,000 years ago. So lots of excellent history recordings, and that's why the society formed is so different from what we know today, because they have learned lessons. And the last thing is the upside. What do they think about the upside? 5. Taboo. You are forbidden to leave the haven. Doing so will get you cast out from your community. What happens to outcasts? What I'm going to say is, if you go up, then you will not be allowed to enter again. And that is harsh, but that's probably going to be what happens. And I think it means that we just need to come up with really good reasons why we want to leave this place. So after getting the society, we can choose our name. I'm going to call myself Elfnim. And then we can choose some equipment. So the way to choose equipment, this game does have a very nice equipment table. So there are 7 kind of categories, and you just basically roll a dice for each one to get what you need. So I'm going to roll on those, and I'm come back with the result. So I've come up with all the equipments. We have a birchbark staff with us as a weapon. We have some vial of milk antidote. And in this game, actually, this is using a usage die. So you start with the highest of, I think, D12. And then by the time you use it, it goes down if you roll a 1. And we also have some armors with us. We have a plate armor, which gives us 5 armor, although it's heavy and loud. But we also have a tactical leather clothes, which is light, but give us 2 armor. We also have some survival tools, a seaweed backpack. We also have a precision tool, and we have a trinket, which is a love letter. And I think this will come into play of why we need to travel into this world. And after the equipment, we actually need to roll on the quest. Why we are actually leaving this place? As I've mentioned, the haven that we're living in is it seems to be quite nice. So they prioritize the poor and the weak, even in times when they are lacking in food and resources. And they also have a really good history tracking system, so they learn a lot from the historical lessons. So why are we leaving? So I guess what we need to roll on is what we want, and this is a D10 table. We'll see how it goes. So 4, self-discovery. You have been feeling a little lost. You want to figure out who you really are. And I think that has something to do with the love letter. And we also need to roll on what we need, which is a 7, a medicine. You or a loved ones are ill, and nothing in the haven helped. You hope to find a cure on the surface. Okay, that is perfect. That fits perfectly into our story. So what I'm going to say is we are Elvenham, a psych, and we have lived in this haven for a long time. We have a love interest. I don't know who that is for now, but there's a love interest with a love letter written to us. But that love interest is now ill, and we are going to risk it. Even though this haven seems really nice, people seems really nice in there. The society structure seems nice as well. But we have to risk living it and getting banned, entering again, just to find the medicines. So that is our story. So how do you play this game? So this game works with basically going from scene to scene. And the way it works is that you are going to draw a card to represent what kind of encounters that you have. But before that, you're going to roll a normal d6 to see if it's going to be a thing, or is it going to be a location, or is it going to be an event, or basically being a living thing that you're going to see. So what I'm going to say is let's start with the game. So climbing out of the tunnels, you feel the fresh breeze on your face, hear the leaves brushing against each other far above. Through the trees, you see a blinding orange orb, your first morning on the surface of this new world. So what I'm going to imagine is that Elvenham is going to be really excited. It is the first time that he actually see the world above, even though it's probably going to be different from what he think it is going to be, because there was obviously a really precision history tracking in their society, so they probably would track the world 8,000 years before. But during that time, things have changed. There will be different floras being created, mutated faunas and floras all over the places. So he's going to sniff the new flowers, touch the blade of the grass for the first time, feeling excited, but a little bit worried about his loved ones, because that's his mission. He needs to find a cure. So to play this game, you're going to roll d6 to see what we're going to get. So let's see. A 5. So on 5 or 6, take a diamond. You find the thing. Proceed to the next location. So let's see what we're going to see first. So the first diamond is going to be a king. So let's read. Armor with a history. So armor from the item table. So it's interesting. We already have a heavy armor. So I don't think we are going to grab anything else. But I'm going to say that this is an armor from some of the other people, the overland dwellers, so the ones who never entered the havens, and it has been there for a while, but not sure what it means. But we are going to find the location, so we're going to see if that we can connect it together. So the way it works is when you enter the location, you are going to pull 2 spades, and you're also going to pull 2 clubs, and you are also going to pull a 1 heart and a diamond. And the way it works is that we will need to read them in order. So the first spade is the location. So we are going to see what it is. So it's another king. So temperate rainforest covered in moss. So out of the tunnel, we entered this rainforest where we found this this piece of armor of the locals on the overland. And what we're going to do next is we are going to look at the first club, which is the being there. So let's see what we have, which is a 10 of clubs. So an ambush surrounded by beings. Oh no. So that doesn't sound good. So what I'm going to say is we're going to see what is the being there. And we can see basically that you can read the remaining spade and club as to twist. So in this case, you can see exactly what they are like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see what happens. So when we get into this place, we are being ambushed by a whole bunch of beings. I'm going to see what beings are there, and I'm going to look at the heart card, which is an 8, and we're going to see what kind of beings they are. So humanoids, indifferent. So what I'm going to say is these are a bunch of overland dwellers. They have put that armor there as a bait to basically attract their prey, and we just happen to be these kind of people from the Havens, first time seeing these overland armors. We are intrigued by it. We get to go close to it, and we see them, and they basically come out of nowhere with their weapons pointing to us, and probably asking who we are, what we want. Now, if you want a bit more details, this game does let you to roll 2d6, and then depending on the values of numbers, you will get a positive or negative result. So the highest is going to be positive, a smaller amount is going to be the negative. So let's see what we get with the reaction of these humanoids. We got an 8. Which I think is somewhere in the middle, so they are truly indifferent. So they're gonna say, get out of the way. We're not looking for you. We are actually looking for our prey, and it's going to be interesting because this system allows us to look at the twist, and we are going to look at the twist now. So environment, atmosphere. We know that we are in this temperate rainforest, but what is the twist for? A forest string, a petrified and flourishing. Okay, and what we're going to see is also the location appearance as the twist. So 5. So a nest. Oh, right. Or shelter. What I'm going to say is they are hunting for these kind of plant animals mixed or a mutated kind of prey, and this is exactly their nest. And it's a good time to actually go into the test system. So in this case, we can say, because we know that our skills is we're good at things that is related to technology and mental. And remember, we also have the insight talent, so which helps us tell if these people are telling the truth. And we have actually just showed that they are in reality indifferent to us. So they actually are looking for the prey. And I'm going to analyze them. What I'm going to say is I'm going to step aside, look how these people hunt that enemy or that prey, that plant animal mix, and we're going to see if we learn anything from there. So I'm going to roll a d6 for our soul, d8 for our skills, which is analysis, and then 2d8 for this world, and we're going to roll them together and see how it goes. So our highest is a 5, and the highest from the world is 8. So we don't get a straight success. I think it means that we have a partial success, which is meaning that we will have to pay a consequence. And in this game, it is quite nice because there is actually a nice consequence table. So let's look at the consequence. So because we get a partial success, we still have to pay for the consequence. but we learn a bit about this world. So first I'm going to look at the consequence. I'm going to roll a d6 in this case, which is a 6. Start and add a problematic clock. That is great because it is time to talk about the clock system. So if you look at the games like Iron Swans, the problem with that is that sometimes it tells you the consequences, but there's not enough game in there. So you have to come up with a lot of stories. But in our case, in Lone Eons, it comes up with a new system. It's called a clock system, where you are going to create a clock for any kind of progressive adventure or any danger clock. So in our case, it's going to be a danger clock, which is a problematic clock. So to do that, you're going to do a 6 segment. So you're going to draw just a little clock like this. And what I'm going to say is we have learned about a bit about this this plant, how these people live, basically how they hunt enemies. So, but the problem is, I'm going to say that we don't feel comfortable with this way of living. So, okay, so I've started the clock. As you can see, we are uncomfortable with how the lifestyle of these overland humanoids, and I've written the first issues is that we dislike the treatment of this plant animal mixture, mutated animals. I think they are basically just kind of hurting it, unnecessary, and we're a little bit uncomfortable. So that concludes our first thing, but we also have one cardlet, which is the thing. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to look at what this thing is. So a jack of diamonds. So the Jack of Diamonds is a jewelry made of trinkets, adventures, or adventures from the item table. So I'm going to roll on and see what we are going to get from there. So I'm going to roll on the trinkets. So a 4, a USB stick. So I'm going to basically say that this USB sticks dropped from these humanoids, group of humanoids hunters who captured that plant animal mixture thing, and then they have actually, one of them dropped this USB sticks, and we're going to keep it because I think it's going to be useful. We might have a chance to find a terminal to see the what is it about? What is it about this group of people? Why are they living like this? So that concludes the first encounter, and we can go on from there. So after parting this group of humanoid hunters, we have actually encountered another thing, and that will also lead to another location. So let's see what that thing is. It is a bottle of essence. So essence are in this world is what that like mana do to magic. So basically, you need to use this essence to use magic. And in this world, anyone can use magic. Doesn't matter if you are a specific class, but you will have to pay for the mutations. And it's actually a good time because we have actually not looked at what our mutations are, because we need to decide what our mutations are when we are living in the havens. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on the 3 different mutations. So in these games, you actually need to roll on the different traits that you get from the mutations when you're living in the underground haven. So I'm going to roll 3 of them. This is D20, and I'm actually going to try to explain what they are compared to how we live in our society. So the first one is going to be 11. That is amphibious. Can breathe underwater and swim as fast as they walk. So that's going to be very useful for us. I'm going to explain that because we are the nomadic society, so we always go from haven to havens, and over time we decided that we can actually start living underground as well, underwater. So the underwater system in the underground, and the next one could be 3. Natural wisdom. Step up 1 die when researching nature. So when we do any nature research, we're going to increase it by 1. which we are actually already D8. So that would be really nice and useful. And the last one is going to be 19, which is going to be rooted. So receive a day's nutrition is if still on soil for an hour. So if we just stand there for an hour, we'll start gaining nutrition. So that's good. That means that we don't have to worry about food and waters. We just need to stand there, have a think, and then that's enough. So let's go back to the oracle table. So we have got this essence, and that means that we can actually get a card that we can use when we are going to do any magics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly pick one of the cards. I'm going to pick a club card, and we're going to see what this is. This is a 6 of club. So 6 of club means decay. So this is a bottle of essence that gives the power of decay. So from now on, we can keep this card with us, and if we want, we can actually use this as a magic generation that can invoke power of decay. So after finding this bottle of essence, we are going to encounter another location. So again, we are going to pull the same cards to see what we have. So let's look at the location first. So this is a 10 of spade, a fathomless lake of still water. Roll for a rumor. Okay, so rumors are going to be what's happening in this world. And first of all, you need to roll a d8 to see what kind of rumor that is. So it's a 3, which means what is near. And we're going to roll another d10 for that. A 9, a Urgal camp, a borough or fortified walled pit contains 3d6 individuals, for example, including a cook, a shaman, a alchemist, a leader, and defiled captives. Oh, that doesn't sound good. So in this fathomless, a fathomless lake of still water, there is actually a settlement of these Uragals. So Uragals are these people who are fungal growing people, so they have fungals growing on them, but these fungals are contaminated and heightening their erratic behaviors, and they have built large fortified towns on this overworld, and then also smaller boroughs across the surface world. So unfortunately, we walked into this camp, and what I'm going to see is if there's any being there, and this is going to be an ace. Ace of club is a family is gathered. So I'm going to interpret it as the situation that these fungal people have captured a family of defiled people. Defiled people are kind of the other peoples that never entered the havens, and these are people who have all been mutated individually, and so even if it is a family, each of them don't necessarily represent the same kind of traits. So they could have like a fish mutated parent, but the children's are going to be plant mutated. So every single individuals are different. So we walked into this camp with a shaman, a cook, another 3d6 individuals, and I'm going to just quickly roll how many are there. So there's another 7. So there's a group of 7 settlement, and they captured a family. But they have a cook and an alchemist and a shaman and a leader. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to decide if we're going to use the decay, because the decay essence is going to require us to give us something. So we're going to get a negative mutation, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I am going to evoke this this thing. So in this case, I need to actually roll a channel. It's channel skills, which we only have D4, unfortunately. but we have a soul of D6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use this decay magic, and I'm going to create a decay over the borrows of these fortified walls, and I'm going to bring down the whole the settlement's walls, so that hopefully this group of captive Defal family can escape this captivity. Let's see what it gets. So, unfortunately, it is going to be a fail because we only have a high of 4, and the world is going to be a 5 and a 6. So a little bit of corrections. Actually, for channeling, actually, even if I failed, it just means that I have additional detrimental mutations. So we actually suffered more, but the effect still stands. So first of all, I'm going to see what kind of detrimental effects that we are going to have. So we need to pay 2 minor ones. So there's a d6 roll. So the first one is going to be 3 appearance. So our first appearance change, and then we're going to roll another one to see what kind of things we have. 2 mutations for our appearance, and we can see what they are. And this is going to be first of all a d20 roll. So 2 of these. So we get withered. Oh no. And also we also get a strange. So where does it happen? So it's going to be 2d10 rolls, and we're going to see where does it happen. So the first one, we have a withered hands, and then the second one is going to be a 5 eyes. So we have strange eyes. So what I'm going to say is, our hands suddenly dried up because we use this essence of decay, and our eyes starting to see strange visions. So we basically can't see. I would say probably we've lost the sense of color actually in this case. So all of a sudden, this world looks gray and black or white. So without the colors, we can't see anything. Our hands is completely withered. We can't hold any equipment. But the good news is the decay works, and the wall has been basically the wall of that camp has been decayed, and the family managed to leave the camp. We're going to look at the twist as well to see where we actually escape to. And the first one is going to be the atmosphere, and then the location appearance. So the atmosphere is going to be a 3, which is a buried or floating. And the 9 is going to be tunnels and holes. Okay. So this family of Defal escaped. They saw us. We are completely withered. Our hands is dried up. We can't see any color. So they took us to this buried tunnels. So basically, I would say this is probably where their community is, where they used to live. And from there, they are going to. I think we're going to have a conversation. So. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the beings and to describe what kind of beings these are. So these are diminutive or curious. So these are diminutive and curious beings. So this group of Defal family, they all look different. Some of them have feathers, some of them have fish scales, but they're all very small compared to our character. And they are going to basically, I would probably say that they are going to let us live with them for a bit to rest and regain our strength. Probably try to find a cure for our withered hands and also our strange eyes. And during that process, we might even be able to enter or experience their social structures and so forth. And we will see how it goes. But I think it's a good time to stop this game over here because you get a sense of what this game is about. This is a story-driven game, but there's enough mechanisms that you can fall back on. So the kind of test is very suggestive. So when you roll the dice, you can basically tell what is impacting the result. Is it the soul, your inner resolve, or your skills? And also the world, why it is actually, why you succeed or why you fail. And also there's a good structure in terms of your adventure. So you are always traveling from one place to another, and it basically tells you to, pick the cards and also read them in a specific format to form the story as well. So the game structure is nice. There's enough meat in terms of the game. I do absolutely also enjoy the clock system, even though we don't utilize a lot, because as we mentioned, when we suffer the earlier consequences, we did get uncomfortable with the overland lifestyle. And actually, I do think that plays into our decision to save this captive family of defile families, because we are uncomfortable of how this Urugo fungi group of people is treating these other defile kind of this family, and that's why we're risking our mutations to try to use the magic to save them. The thing I want to talk about is the theme as well. So this is obviously a Solarpunk themed game, and it is very new to the RPG genres, but I think it's very refreshing. Quite a lot of times, obviously, a lot of people are familiar, and they do find comfort from the traditional fantasies, like slaying goblins or finding treasures in the dungeons and so forth. But for our generations, sometimes that is not enough to provide comfort. The fantasy of a 8,000 years in the future, where the world has started fresh, in a solarpunk side kind of world, where the floras and faunas have retaken the overland world. There are different structures in terms of the society. So, for example, as I've mentioned, our society at the Havens is completely different. It's a nomadic kind of society, but they keep very good history. So they learn a lot from the historical mistakes, and also they focus on prioritizing the weak and the poor in the society, because they find valuables in them. For example, it's quite difficult to find these kind of themes in the traditional fantasies, simply because they are not traditionally written to incorporate any of those interpretations. Now, the problem with these is that this is ultimately still fantasies, unfortunately, because if we look at the very first word of this book, lore is not canon. Lore is just a starting point. You may have any other word for defile, for cryo, for the intersections. Imagine a world after capitalism's, which in a way is probably the ultimate fantasies. And like any fantasies, once we stop playing the game, then the reality sets in, and we just see how this world is as it is. So even though I do highly recommend this game, I do recommend actually also priming yourself by probably reading some of the fictions influenced by Solarpunk or other Miyazaki anime, for example, like Nausicaa, Valley of the Winds. This game requires some kind of deeper thinking, I would say. It does reflect to our current lifestyle and situations. So if that creates anxiety in to yourself, then I would recommend being cautious entering this game. Ultimately, you can still play it as a traditional fantasies, killing monsters, getting treasures, saving the world. But I do think this game is meant to be played with an open-minded approach to see a world in a different ways, in a different perspective. That is really difficult for people who are not willing to do that, or who are not willing to actually enter that kind of mind of state. But ultimately, I highly recommend this game, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you. Bye bye.